QC Sales and Coaches Meeting. I'm your host, Jeff, with my lovely wife, Shalia.
Hey.
Today, let's talk about prospecting. We can talk about prospecting because we've done such a fabulous job of working. I'm seeing many of us putting in the work. Yes! Excuse me if I'm like a lot of extra energy. I've got two of these super cacao drinks going on.
I know.
So protect your fucking ears.
I
Julia's like, okay, turn that shit down.
know. You can move the microphone back if you're going to be extra loud.
Yeah.
So you're not like raping their ears.
That's not necessary.
There you go.
So anywho, we've done really good work in working. I'm seeing a lot of people putting in the work. If you're putting in the work, step one is done. We had a TFAS class where Sama told us she puts in 72 hours a week, and that gives her, and it has an entire day off, and also has, you know, a few hours every evening to relax, be with her family, and decompress. And I think that that's like, it's about as solid as you can get in a balanced way. You can't put in, unless you're crazy or, you know, you're a little different, you can't really put in much more time than that. And I even suggested she spend about an hour on her day off, looking at the rest of her week and seeing what worked, seeing what didn't. So Sama, can you actually check in with us here and tell us about your work week? What's going on in the last, you know, week or so in your career? What have you encountered? What'd you put your time into? What was your results from it?
Yeah, so this week, I guess the focus has been on fishing more, and because the week usually it goes like fishing, and then the week after is the consultations for those fish, and then it goes kind of in a cycle like that, and then back to fishing again. So this week was just a lot of focus on gathering those prospects and working on turning them into consultations. And yeah, I feel like now I'm starting to fall into a routine, which feels good, and it's paying off. Like the other day, I closed someone just in email, and that felt really good because it also showed how even that he came from the newsletter, and he basically already had been sold on it from the newsletter.
Yes.
So when he came through in the consultation, and I had like been rewording it, and this week actually Sarah helped me a lot with the newsletter, so thanks, Sarah.
Thank you,
And
Sarah.
yeah, Sarah Maeve, yeah, she helped me with the editing, and it really changed the energy of the newsletter. So this week, since then, I've been working on the people who came in from, like the fish who came in from the newsletter. But yeah, so anyway, as they are already being prepped that, hey, the consultation is not a free healing session. It's a chance for you to join TFAS.
Well, that's been a big lesson for our coaches this week, that, you know, really learning that and understanding the consultation is not a free healing session.
I mean, it's right there in the word consultation. Like you're consulting over something, not like a healing session, right? Yeah, and so don't be afraid to be very like direct and straightforward if you're beginning to feel that this is turning into a free healing session, and you know, make aware of, well, this is the purpose of it, this is what a consult is, and just direct them to logic. You know, if you'd like a session with me, this is the way to it. And you know, and some, you know, I think a lot of the upset for people who had consults thinking it was a free session, and then, you know, knocking on TFU, well, part of that is because the communication wasn't made clear from the very beginning.
Vibrationally.
Vibrationally, and if they were already confused about what it was, or if they had their own idea about what it was. So it's just your job to be very clear on that front this is the purpose of today. And yes, I will be talking about TFAS. I will be talking about Jeff and Shalia. And if it...
Or we'll be talking about
Yeah.
Developing a relationship with you. This is the beginning of a relationship.
Yeah.
So when you get into the free consult, you already know that the point of this consult is for me to find out if I can help you, and you to find out if I can help you, and us to find out if we're a good fit in that.
And it's okay to like say this directly, what Jeff and I are saying to them, so that there are no surprises, no upsets, no, awkwardness when the conversation moves into like sales, like
closing the deal.
Like, this is what we're here for, so see agreement.
Yeah. I mean, I remember in I think it was earlier in the week when you were helping Brienne, Jeff, on a comment, and you said you can just be upfront with them and say, if I can help you with this X problem, would you be able to afford it yourself? So I incorporated that, and I think it helped a lot, not only for them to get clear that this is, you're expected to pay, right? Because your problem's not going to be solved with a 20-minute consultation. This is a process, and it can only be solved if you invest in yourself and commit to the process. And that includes either, can you afford to get regular coaching with me and join Twin Flame Ascension School if we can solve this big problem that you're having? Right. And the responses from that were, either they wouldn't respond because they were like, oh crap, I have to pay. And which is fine, it's just rooting them out. And it helped me to value myself, because before I would have had them in the consultation, and then it would have been a waste of 20 minutes of my time. And it also, so that people who then came through and were like, yeah, I'm still interested. And then I would send the scheduling link where they can schedule a consultation and then take it from there. And it just feels much better this way. It feels much cleaner, and I feel more valued as well. Yeah.
And, you can use that setup call to resolve that problem so that you're not dealing with it in the consultation. The consultation is about making sure that it's a good fit, you showing off your skills, your talents, and the potency of this work that you can help them with, and them being wowed by it, rather than being mired mostly in, I can't afford it, okay, let's work through money blocks. And that's not what you want to be dealing with. You want to be wowing them with the work. And you want to set it up so that if they're wowed with the work, which they're going to be, they're going to move forward with you. Mm-hmm. So this also brings up another really good point, that that little detail that I shared with Brienne about asking people up front, hey, if we can do this, can you afford this? Can you afford this if I can get this done? That's just a straight up sales mechanic. I learned that from probably a sales book on how to sell from Zig Ziglar or someone else. When I was first starting my sales career, Zig Ziglar was a big influence for me. Probably because he was really entertaining and confident and fun, easy to listen to, had good sales tips. Now, I'm not so sure that, I think he was more of a speaker on sales than a salesman himself. My personal thoughts on him. But he certainly made getting started in sales very easy because it was so entertaining and very confidence inspiring. Now, all of his closing techniques that I heard, some of them I think were a little more for fun effect than actual use. But the point is, I highly recommend, if you're serious about this, going out and finding sales books, doing sales research, and sharing those books that you like in the sales forum. There's not any particular sales books that I'd recommend, but Zig Ziglar does a lot of talks that you can probably find for free online, and that'd be a great place that I'd recommend to check out to get your feet wet with some sales. Mm-hmm. If anyone finds books that they really like, or they find a book, they read through it, they really like, put it in the sales forum, and maybe we can get a list of books that our community has liked and benefited from. Just at least to get us exposed to the world of career selling alone. Because that's a really valuable world. It's a thousands-year-old profession, one of the oldest professions, sales. And humans have really figured out how to sell. So you can tap into that resource in the collective consciousness. And there's modern people today teach you how to sell really good, really successful career salespeople all over the world through, you know, the last 100 years with a lot of good content that you can take advantage of and learn. And then when you marry that to the spiritual information that I'm teaching you here, you're going to be a God-tier salesperson, because that's how I became as good as I am today. And I'm pretty good, but there's always room for improvement. So what I did was I learned, basic sales, and I learned the spiritual component of how to connect with someone on a deep spiritual, intimate level. And then I just put those together, and it took basic sales beyond the next level. And if I focused on this as a career, there's so much I could learn. And there's so much I could learn right now as a salesperson, personally, by reading these books. So I highly recommend, if you're serious about selling, to include reading. Maybe put 30 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day or an hour a day into your education, and include that into your schedule to keep your senses sharp, keep sharpening your skills.
Mm-hmm. It'll pay you.
The average CEO reads like a shitload of books per year. And saw this random statistic online. And I've heard it a lot, that people who are very successful and are very at the leading edge of their careers, they read a lot. So as part of your studying life purpose class a lot to improve your career here, and studying Twin Flame Ascension School a lot to improve your skill set as a coach here and your foundation of the center of the work that you're offering. Maybe include some reading in other subjects as well to help complement this. So Sama, please continue sharing with us, what your experience was. This is really valuable stuff.
Yeah, and I also wanted to share, since you talked about doing research on sales, I was actually doing that last night, just watching YouTube videos of other sales professionals, like VP of sales of other successful companies, and the advice that they had. And one thing that really stood out to me was what we're currently working on right now is all the abuse that we're facing from the other groups is because we're going about to pushing TFAS onto them, rather than what the advice was from the VP of sales was you have to create a pool rather than pushing your product. Right. Because the value of your product, and that what you have is gold, and that you don't need to push it onto anyone or convince anyone to get it, right? Yeah. But then walk around as if you have this bar of gold, with that kind of confidence, and that really, yeah.
You literally have the gold of the golden age.
Mm-hmm.
More valuable than any gold. You have something you have a platinum diamond of God. That's what you walk around like you have. You have the most valuable thing that anyone could ever have. It's God. And it's people's connection to God. It's literally a solution to all of their problems. Mm. So this isn't the sort of thing that you stuff down people's throats. You need this! And people are like, fuck you, dude. I don't need shit. And they're right.
If there's one thing that I remember my spiritual teacher reiterated to me, a few times, was nobody likes to be told what to do. And if you think about it, you don't like someone telling you what to do.
I never tell you what to do.
I don't like someone telling me what to do. I'm like, excuse me. And so that's something to consider when you're selling, is don't tell them what to do.
Invite them.
But invite them. Inviting is so huge and so pure and powerful.
And it's a teeny little mechanic that's critical.
Right.
From me saying, hey, Sama, let me give you this advice, to, hey, I have some advice that maybe I think that would help you out a lot.
Right.
Can I share that with you?
And that's part of conscious communication and conscious languaging, right? I think we even said this in the book, and we say it in classes where we say, I invite you to look at this instead of, I want you to look at this. Isn't that two very different energies right there?
One is something that, you're receiving, and the other is something that you're going to lose. I want you to do something. Oh, God, now I've got to do something for you.
Yeah.
Versus, I invite you to do something.
This will help for some of you parents out there, too, with your kids.
Oh, yeah. I don't tell y'all shit
Right.
unless we've already have an agreement that you want me to tell you something.
Yep.
So you see my relationship with you, and it's really amazing, but you can't, you can't treat a mature relationship in the same way you treat a brand new relationship. The relationship I have with you has been built over years. The relationship I have with this community has been built over years. This trust has been built over years. You can use this as your foundation, but you don't assume it with a new person.
Exactly, yeah.
Look at Ian, for example. When he first came to TFAS, this is Daniela's twin flame, Danny Casido.
Wednesday, 1 p.m. class.
Even though it's Danny's twin flame and he's already aware, he had kind of a negative connotation for our work. And, we started, within the first 2 minutes, we immediately went to go do the mirror exercise, and he was like, no, I don't do that shit, basically. I didn't force it on him. I was like, oh, okay, fine, we don't have to do that shit. And I approached it from his perspective in a way that made sense to him where he was at. He's like, no, I don't deal with problems. I go play basketball. And I recognized it was the same thing anyway. I was like, well, fine. You have the solution. So go play basketball. And don't let Danny tell you got to do the mirror exercise. I told him not to do the mirror exercise. You might look at me like, you told him to not do the mirror exercise. Are you kidding me? That's the foundation. No, that's not the foundation of the work. God is.
God is, yeah.
So if they don't want to do the mirror exercise, so what?
Mm-hmm.
They got some other way to be with God. Encourage them to go there.
I watched this documentary. This was like a few years ago, and I don't remember what it was called. But it's about this young man in his mid to late 20s who explored yoga. And there's definitely a lot of pressure because they all knew what he was doing, right? Cameras in the yoga room. And there's this pressure for him to become a yogi practitioner and this and that. But at the end of the documentary, spoiler alert, he leaves yoga and instead he finds his yoga in rock climbing and going on like really rigorous mountainous hikes. And he said, like, this is what yoga is for me. It's not like doing postures in a room and oming. This is where I do my yoga, or where I become one with God, is rock climbing. And I thought of Ian when that happened, was like, oh, it's the same thing, like basketball, him going for his walks, like this is how he's processing and feeling his feelings. And loving himself. That's the point of the mirror exercise.
To commune with God.
To commune with God. We just found the mirror exercise to be a very quick and direct route to healing upsets, because it pinpoints it exactly. And
it's like getting into the code of your mind and being able to reprogram it at will.
Yeah.
And, if he has resistance to that, huge resistance to it, but I can see he's already intrigued by it now that, it's not forced down his throat. Danny's been pushing this on him for months, and he has such a sour taste in his mouth about the mirror exercise. He has no interest anyway in doing it. But once I show it, if I'm not forcing it on him, and I'm holding the power of the mirror exercise, and everyone else is like, this is fucking amazing, and he's seeing it transform people like this, whereas his walk, man, it's good, but it's not the mirror exercise. And I also mentioned, like, if you're a master meditator, a God tier meditator, well, you don't need the mirror exercise. You already get there. And so he got to feel, well, maybe I'm that, because in his mind, he wants to be that. And he knows that somewhere inside he is that. But then he's seeing the mirror exercise being used in class, and he's seeing the results happen like this. Now he's a lot more intrigued by the work. So the point of this is to reiterate, not to force this gold down people's throat. Like, if you have gold, treat it like this. And you're also generous. Oh, Danny's here. Hey, Danny.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's already happening. I thought she was here.
Just the pages.
Hi guys, can I just share something about what you were saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like it's you know, it's so true what you're saying. Like it's working now, you know. I'm not forcing him anything anymore, you know, like it's I'm just letting him be. And yesterday he was yeah, like he was upset yesterday, and I just said to him like, go for a walk or go play basketball, period. And he was like, fine, whatever. And then after a while, like I messaged him and I was like, hi, how are you? You know, and he was fine, I was fine. And I also and then I am also seeing that he's intrigued, you know, like I see how he looks at the class, and like he saw how you work with Sama, and he didn't say anything, but I can look at him and I see that he's like what the fuck, like this is fast, you know, like, and he sees that on me as well. So you know, he's wondering and everything. And then after that, I told him like, oh, remember, like I've told you about Sama, like she wrote a chapter in the book, and then I show him, you know, before he will say like, I'm not interested, I'm not touching that book or stuff like that. And yesterday he was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, I showed him the chapter and everything. He was like, oh, cool. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then I put the book away, you know, like, but I see how he's...
Yeah, any forcing is going to turn someone off.
Yeah.
But inviting, when they're intrigued,
when they're open,
when they're desiring, huge difference.
Right.
If you have the gold and you force it, they're going to hate gold, even though they love gold. But if you have the gold and you're generous with it, big difference.
Because they're going to see the gold as forcing. That's how they'll relate it. It's psychology, right?
Forcing is not good.
Yeah, forcing is not good.
But if you have the gold, and you see they want the gold, and even they don't know that it's the gold they want, you start to offer it, not force it. Hey, I have this. Would you like to try some? It will solve your problem. And they might sample it. And you have to know, even if they have a sour taste on their mouth, and say, oh, I'm not so sure that that's great. You sit back and you smirk because you know that they got exactly what they needed. And next time, they might be even a little more receptive to it. And this can happen over a long period of time, like with Ian, or it can happen in a very rapid fire, like with your clients. Okay, I have this, it'll help you, you know, and you're confident that it's going to help them. And they're like, no. You're like, okay, well, maybe you have some better way. I'm open to that. And you know they don't have a better way. And they try to tell you the better way. And you're like, well, that might help, but this would help even more. And if they're not open in any way, why the fuck are they there in front of you? What are you here to do? Is, you know, like convert me to your thing? Like that's not what we agreed upon in the beginning. We agreed that I'm going to help you with your problem, and we're going to have a relationship here. We don't have a relationship by you trying to stuff your stuff down my throat because you want to offload your shit. You feel bad, even that's going to make you feel good. Not here. You're here because I have something of value, and you're interested if it can help you. And you have to understand that that's the primary relationship. Most salespeople don't have shit near as good as this. You have light years above the competition in terms of good shit. And there are unique challenges with this, but you have to be willing to work through those challenges. Was there more that you wanted to say at this time, Danny?
Yeah, just that. Yeah, no, that it's so true what you're saying, because you know, Ian felt that you guys were inviting him, you know, it was not, he never felt forced. And it's funny because before the class, you know, the first class, he was like, so please, I don't want you to force me to talk. I don't want to talk with anybody. I don't want to say anything to anybody. I'm just going to answer because I am a polite person. And if they ask me something, I'm going to answer, but I don't want you to ask me anything. I was like, okay. And then he ended up talking. He ended up, you know, he was interested. And then the last class, he even wanted to talk with Sama. So, you know, I was just saying like, and you said you don't want to, you know, and that's because you invited him, you know, and because you taught me to do so. So now it's working. So it's awesome. Yeah. And that was it.
Wonderful advice to Sama as well. Very beautiful advice at the end. It was very like true and like authentic. And yeah, I thought that was a really wonderful sign.
Yeah. And I said that to him, you know, I was like, that was awesome. Thank you so much. It meant a lot for me. He's like, well, you know, like she was feeling bad. Like, you know, like it's just, you know, you have to be.
Of course I help her, right? And it's so funny because, you know, he came in like just as resistant as you could possibly be and still show up at all.
Right, like my girlfriend's making me do this, and
Right.
I know you're all aware of that.
It's like you take him out to the dance floor and he's sitting there like this, but he's on the dance floor.
Yeah.
And then, you know, 2 classes later, he's out there dancing and inviting people to dance with him because this is so great. And you're like, look, you're dancing. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just a polite person. But you can see he's having a good time and he wants to come back on his own volition.
Yeah, because, you know, after the classes, he doesn't say, we don't say anything to each other. Like, we just look at each other, and then we don't say anything. And then the first class, I was like, did you like it? You know, it was fun. And he was like, yeah. And you see, I was not wrong. You know, I saw, you know, he's happy and he likes it, you know, so it's awesome. So that was it, guys. And thank you so much, by the way, for that and for everything.
Well, it's our pleasure. And it fits so perfectly in today's sales and coaches meeting because, you know, Ian was so resistant, and your clients can be, or your prospects can be so resistant in the beginning. But this simple mechanic can dissolve all of their resistance because in their heart, they're children of God and they want love. And when you offer them love on their terms, on their level, in their language, you start offering this gold to them. They're going to be so happy and so open, just like all of you here. All of you here are open to this work because of the way that we offered it to you. Because we offered it in your language. We offered it to you on your terms, when you wanted it, in the way that you could receive it. And some of you, it's like, bam, 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 here it is, and there, and there, and there, and there. And you're like, give it to me, no, I've been waiting my whole life. And other of you are like, I'm here, and I don't think this is going to be good. But I'm here to try it. I've tried everything, and fuck you. But I'll try it, because I don't know. We're like, okay, well, would you like to try this? No! Okay, well, I'll just leave it there for you. If you want it, you know, we agree this is probably what you're looking for. It's there if you want it. I'm never going to pick it up. And we look the other way, and you're munching on it. Oh, I see you tried some of that. Yeah, well, so what? Doesn't mean anything. Okay, doesn't have to mean anything. Okay, doesn't have to mean anything. We always agree with you. We never push you. We never force you. We never make you do something. You're always right in our sales conversation and in our relationship of us offering this to you. You're right. So this is what it means by the customer is always right. You're right. But you're not right when you say something that opposes the truth. Oh, well, this is crap. Well, it's not crap. No, it hurts people. No, it doesn't hurt people. Well, you're scamming me. No, how could I scam you when I'm giving you something, you know, freely? Well, it costs money. Well, if you want to have a relationship with us, this is the natural way to have a relationship. And they're going to share all their objections, all their nonsense. This is standard stuff. But this is the process. Objections are the process of opening up and releasing resistance. Now, some people are just genuinely there to take from you. Just find out that that's what they're there for. Get really clear. And you saw in the Sales and Coaches Forum yesterday, I posted a conversation with one of Blossom's prospects that I had rooted out. Well, you know, she came to me after she'd gone to Blossom, and you know, I had helped her get set up, and she didn't actually want help. She just wanted to take from this community, take from Blossom. And I figured that out clearly. Rooted her out. And she made it very clear. She was a scumbag trying to take. Mm-hmm. Okay, next. I don't put any more effort. And the scumbag that wants to take is going to try to keep that relationship going at that level. They're going to try to convince you that they might be interested at some other time and to keep investing in them.
I'm sorry I upset you.
I had a couple of those yesterday.
Yeah.
But once you find out this is not a good prospect, you just cut them off and you move on to the next one. This is critical so you don't waste your time. And I just want to once again, you know, and if some of you aren't here yet, it's okay. But as a collective, we're here, and each of you did your part to get us all to this point. We're here talking about this today, about converting prospects, because we put in the work. Collectively, this is where we are. We're not in, let's start to do the work, guys. You know, let's show up to the job, guys. Let's start to work on our businesses, guys. We're beyond that point. we're in the point where we're putting in big effort. We're working our tails off. Now we can talk about serious things like conversion. Conversion is a very exciting topic in sales because it means that you're building your business. It means that you're you're growing your clientele. It means you're making money. This is the thing. This is the final mechanic to making money for yourself. You're making money of a serious business. Every business person respects this mechanic, revenue. Because revenue means you're doing something in the world. It means you're offering something of value and people are paying for it. That is respect in the business and sales world. Every other business person, every other person in the business community, in the business world respects revenue. Now, there's a challenge that we've been running into it's a very minor challenge, but it's been coming up these last few days, is that people are starting to see, well, we got revenue. we got a community of people here who care about this. And they look at us and they're like, wow, look at how much money y'all are making. Look at how committed all your people are. They see all that and they're saying, well, you're all committed, you're making money because you're a fraud and you're scamming people. It must be that you're scamming people because look at how much the business and that idea is benefiting so perfectly.
And the power behind it.
Oh yeah, look at how passionate you all are. It must be a cult. Because only a cult benefits so completely. Only a cult's idea benefits so completely that you can have that level of perfection here. That level of perfection is a cult and y'all are getting scammed. But you know what? They're directly insulting the intelligence and the individuality and the integrity and the clarity of each one of you when they say something like that to any one of us. Well, they're essentially saying, you're sheep, you're dumb, you've been manipulated, you have no idea what you're doing right now. You're so stupid, you got scammed completely into a cult, and here I am, your savior, haha, you can thank me later. But it's so insane because each one of you is an independent thinker. And I know this because y'all grilled me to get to this point so much. Y'all grilled the shit out of this. Y'all vetted me. Y'all vetted this work. You looked at it and you're like, what about this? What about that? I got you right here. Ha! What about that one, huh? And I'm like, well, actually, let's look at that together. And we did. And for years, y'all grilled me to get to this point. Y'all grilled this work. This is vetted work. It's not just you and me looking at this. It's a whole community of people, of scientists, of engineers, of artists, of doctors, of mystics, of military people, of programmers, of teachers, of spiritual people, of people with experience from all different walks of life, all different cultures, all different religions. And y'all have said the same exact thing. This shit works. It works so fucking good that I'm going to dedicate my life to this in some facet or another. And I'm not doing this because I think so and everyone else thinks so, but because the results in my life speak to that. The results alone say that these naysayers, what was that someone had posted about Einstein, that these hogwashers?
I don't know.
Whatever, some hilarious meme in one of their forums. Einstein had said to Marie Curie, "This nonsense, right? This nonsense doesn't matter. Ignore the naysayers, because their hogwash was made for them. You know, it was the sole purpose is for the reptile that it is." Yeah, Al posted it. That it's just to satisfy their own fear. And you don't need to listen to that crap. You don't need to listen to it in whole, and you don't need to listen to it in part. And it's merely a question and a gift that is posed. But it's not the gift that you want. You don't need to accept it. It doesn't harm you. it's baseless. And you know that. And you only need to look at the results, to look at the truth, to look at the history and the track record of this work to say, look, this is nonsense. And it makes perfect sense to the reptile that's sharing it. And they're so confident in it. But it only makes sense for the purpose of taking you away from that which is so good to you and so good to all. You can ignore that and let it go. So don't worry about the naysayers. Don't worry about the toxic shit that comes up. You can very confidently see it for what it is and move beyond it. So good. Sama, I'd like to get back to you, and you were sharing a lot about your work week and what you'd experienced. I feel like you've got more to share with us.
Yeah, I think in general the big difference I saw was how just making that shift in valuing myself and my time and setting up the consultations beforehand changed the type of prospects that I was receiving. So automatically,
one more time, it's really important.
Sure. So the change that I made in first making the choice to value myself and my time by vetting the prospects beforehand instead of just allowing them into a consultation, changed the type of prospects that I was receiving.
Yeah, so let me break that apart before you keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Because you valued your time and you started to vet the prospects. Now, you're going around with good shit, and you're the hot girl in the bar.
Mm.
You're not the needy, little broke guy trying to get a hot girl's attention. You're the hot girl walking around with, the sex appeal. And even though you approach them because they were asking for it. Oh, I came by to help you. And they're like, oh, well, you're going to help me. And you're like, okay, that's fine, but let's make sure that you're a good fit. Now the table has turned. Now the frame has changed from you want them to they want you. You don't need them. You have the gold. And you have a limited amount of time slots. You have a limited amount of time to help people. And they are a potential lucky person. They're lucky to have you because you don't have infinite spots in your coaching. You don't have infinite spots in your group coaching. There's a limit. And this makes it highly valuable for you. There's a limit on how many people you can help. There's a limit. And you know what? After you've got your 50-person group coachings, you've got 25 of those a week, and you're prospecting a little bit, and they're so full, and yet the prospects are coming, and you want to do more. Well, guess what? Now you do it your group coaching program is the same cost, but now it's every other week. Every other week now. And so on this week, it's all your same, and this week, it's a fresh slate. And you know what? Your clients will pay double. A bunch of your clients who can't pay, they're going to stay. Now they're going to pay double to be in every week. And you know what? You can split it again once a month. Now you've got, 25, 50-person classes a week. Every other week, same price, whatever, 25 or $40 or whatever your price is that you found. Now it's they have to pay 4 times as much for that same slot. Now you're doing so good at prospecting. You're just raking in the clients. Now it's once a quarter. And you have these quarterly group coaching check-ins because your time is so valuable. And now people are paying, 16 times the amount? The same? You got that many, well, shit, now you can start touring the globe. And, there's a whole different ballgame that you evolve into. If you choose to. Or you can stay at, $80,000 or $120,000 a year, or whatever it works out for you, and just do individual clients. That's all you do. And you got your individual clients, and you help them in a harmonious union, and that's how you want to approach this. You got your, 6, 8 people a day, and you're really rocking sessions 6 days a week, say. And that's really, That's really all you want to do. You got a really light and easy life. Help people in the harmonious union. And over the years, you're helping people in the harmonious union, and they graduate, and they become a coach themselves, maybe. Some of them do. And you bring the next set of people in, and you start to become renowned for individual sessions, and they can get pretty pricey as you develop a reputation for yourself, as you develop a track record. These people, I help them in the harmonious union. And that's what I do. You can approach it like that. Or maybe you can do this part-time. That's what you want to do. It's like Jason, he wants to be a chef, and he realizes that he doesn't have to be a chef fucking 90 hours a week anymore, and that's not what he really wants. He wants to keep it light for the most part. And maybe he takes some clients part-time too. He does them both. Maybe 25 hours a week he's doing this. This career is very flexible. So you can have it be what works for you. I'm just reading. Christina said, my twin flame used to say, you're trying to sell me something and then thank me for the information I gave him about the mirror exercise after I stopped trying to get it to him. Yeah, thanks for that throwback. So just remember that this amazing career comes to you because you are not there trying to get someone to be your client, but you are there offering a gift. And this gift is so valuable that you need to make sure that the person on the other end of the receiving end is a good fit for receiving. That's what the free consultation is for. This is what your setup calls are for. This is what prospecting is. It's going out and finding who's the right person for you. And that's how you build your successful business. That's the root of why this is possible for a six-figure income. And you have to keep putting in the work. Just because you put up a lot of work to get to this point, well, that's the price to get to this point. And you need to sustain that work to be here. So find a way to sustain it, to make sure it's sustainable, and keep pushing to the next level, because this level is finding a way to prospect and get good clients and turn your prospects into good clients. So thanks for giving me that opportunity, Sama, to share that. Could you please continue?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I also started thinking like, what is my unique? I don't know what the word for this would be. I guess selling point, or how can I uniquely fish in the way that is sharing my gifts.
Yeah, by being yourself.
Yeah, answer. Exactly. By being myself, how can I do this? And I realized that, taking the approach of not just trying to coach them, but also as a student myself, like how this work has changed my life as a student, rather than, hey, we're like this big team of coaches and we're trying to pull you in, but kind of, just being, as you said yourself, being there with them. I'm starting to understand what that means in when you're approaching someone and communicating with a new prospect who has not yet joined. Like remembering like back before I joined and what the questions that were going through my mind and how these were put, how these were resolved, and how excited I was to join. Like kind of taking myself back there, and I noticed how this made them excited to join as well. And even if they also began valuing my time in the sense that they would not ask me for the consultation until they have their finances sorted. So if they didn't have money, like for example, one person was like, I gave him the options of, asking someone close to him to borrow money until his next paycheck comes in. And he was sending me screenshot of his friend's conversation going, hey man, I don't have any money, like leave me alone kind of thing. And he was like, I'm in this, I'm committed and I want to join and I really appreciate your time and I'm not going to ask you for a consultation until I'm sure that I can pay.
That's a solid client.
Yeah.
That's a relationship and follow up with that.
Yeah.
Don't let that stop, right?
Yeah.
You've got so many clients that you can't have the time for that. Respect that about yourself. But if you have the time to kind of stay in touch with someone like that, that's a person that's respecting you.
Yeah.
There's God in him that you want to stay with.
Mm-hmm.
So, personally, where I'm at right now in my career is everyone wants to talk to me. Everyone loves my work. People want to come talk to me about my work, share their twin flame story. And right now, I can chat with them briefly and kind of get an idea of where they're at. do a little bit of sales work with them. And this is how I work with Blossom's client and also with Karina's client, Prospect. And I helped reveal both of them is not a good fit. And I went and helped my coaches out. But I couldn't get into a free, they would have loved to get into a free consultation and sit and talk, right? Or she signed up for coaching with Christina. Wow. Well, good luck, Christina. I don't have high hopes for that client, but you may, you may
explore that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not impressed in any way.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, explore that. Find the lessons and find if there's a relationship that can be had there. Not everyone who will pay you is necessarily a good client. So please continue, Sano.
Yeah, this is the other thing that what you just said, that not everyone who's willing to pay you is a good client. I started noticing that in my own business as I started valuing myself. There were certain clients who were paying me who every time I had gone into a session I felt really bad. And I realized because even though they were paying me, I still felt like they were taking from me, or I was leaking my energy by being there. And so
they're here for the same reason that you are. They're
exactly,
there to pay you for it.
Right.
You are there to have a relationship that transforms them into their harmonious union, that supports them with this work. This is critical. That supports them with this work all the way into their harmonious union and beyond. That's the point of your relationship as a coach. And don't forget that. It's not there to get a sale. It's not there to have a coaching relationship. It's there so that you can help them be with God. And so you can get paid for that. That's why you're here as a coach. Otherwise, if you're there for the money, there are way better jobs that are there just for the money than this. This is a much higher purpose. And when you honor that high purpose, you do get paid properly. When you honor that proper relationship, you do get paid properly, and they are supported properly. And it's not about the money. The money's there. We talk about the money because it needs to be there. It's an important mechanic. That's not the main thing here. The main thing is your heart's calling and the high level of satisfaction that you experience, the joy and delight that you experience in helping your clients through this work into their harmonious union. What delight you experience when they have success, when their twin flame texts them, when they move through that block and their life gets better, when they finally make a new choice and stop doing that thing, stop farting on desks. Oh my God, my whole life I've farted on desks. My name is Susan. And now I go to the bathroom before work and I let it all out. I respect the people around me. And so to see that in your client, no longer be a farting Susan, but a respectful Susan, that brings such a deep level of pleasure to your heart and delight. It's worth everything. It's worth all of this. That's the point of all of this, is to see that love offered and given and received, and to see them thrive as a result. But to do that, you've got to learn all these lessons along the way to support that level of love, that gift. And that's what all this upfront work has been. And that's why we need to persist and continue to put in the effort, to put in the time, and to help people through that. That's what it's for. So please continue, Sal.
Yeah, and I guess moving, like every time someone shows up, there's that relationship that you're building, and going off on what you were saying, that they've got to meet you there, and that this relationship is expanding, so it can't stay stagnant. So if it's the same kind of thing over and over again, and it just feels like you're giving your gift and it's not being received.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing else you can do if you've just given it there, and it's they're choosing not to receive it. But it also means that in the beginning I started feeling bad about the energy that I had invested, but then I realized God is receiving all of that. so my efforts are not wasted. And then that pops up in another, yeah.
The universe asking you, are you just doing this for the money?
Mm-hmm.
And it will let you do it just for the money. But if you're doing it just for the money and nothing else, it feels bad to you because that's not what you agreed to. That's not what we aspire to here, just to do it for money. Because you can get a whole lot of clients who will do it just for the money. It's going to feel bad because you have a higher aspiration. And for you to say, no, I'm not doing it just for the money. And if you're here just to pay me, to talk to me and get my energy, that's not what this is about, and this is ends. And Shirley and I have had to end many coaching relationships when we were in your place.
And long-term coaching.
Long-term coaching. When we found out, oh, you're just here to take from us. You're here for some other reason than the reason that we agreed to. And they'll agree to it at the beginning, and they'll start to deviate. And once they made it very clear, I'm not that kind of client, you cut them off and say goodbye.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I noticed in mine as well, is that I was feeling increasingly tired in the sessions where I couldn't even hold space for this person. And I was like, this really doesn't feel good, God. Like, please, if this is not healthy, just take it away. And immediately the person could not afford sessions anymore. And it was solved. Yeah.
Because they can't afford it because they're not getting what they want from you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't afford it anymore, and the relationship ends. They'll make any excuse. You've seen that throughout TFAS. People make any excuse to leave TFAS. Everyone's got their own way of leaving to acknowledge that they're not there for the same reason as you. And some try to make a bloody fit on their way out. Some try to pretend like you're an asshole. Whatever it is, they're always going to try to make you look bad. And you foot the bill for their ego. But it's never that. It's just you rising to a higher vibration and you leaving them behind. They're going to blame you for being a dick and that you're wrong, but you're not. And you got to have the fortitude to persist in love anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it just feels the theme of the week has been a kind of detoxing and coming deeper into just valuing myself, and then seeing that reflected in the kind of prospects that are being attracted and moving forward from that. And it feels fresh, it feels easier, and I think it's looking up.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. How do you feel right now about all this, Summer?
It feels really good, yeah, especially after all the healing that we did in the Wednesday class. The next,
you got to specify at this point, you know.
The last Wednesday, I don't know what number it is, 80
Yeah,
something.
you don't need to specify what it was. Wednesday 1 p.m. TFAS. So.
Yeah. So just watch all of them. But yeah, I mean, after all of that, it just feels like a weight has lifted and a new page has been turned, and it feels really good. Yeah.
Good. So, are you feeling a little tired right now?
No.
This has been the highest energy sales meeting we've ever had. And you put in like 72 hours in the last week or so based upon the math that we've done. So there is something that feels tired right now.
The ego?
Well, sure, but there's a question. How could I possibly sustain this level of energy? And I'm actually really high on cacao right now. So, so that's part of it, you know. And there is an unsustainable element to, you know, I'm high on cacao. But you don't sustain it. God does. And remember, like, you're not the one putting forth all this energy. God is. God is your source. And you might wonder, well, how am I going to keep getting all this energy to continue this? Have faith. Because God has that question answered for you, and it's through him does all this energy arise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's safe to relax into God. And it's safe to feel your feelings as you move through these changes. It's safe to let God provide for you.
Yeah, I like that quote I posted in our open forum group, and I'm paraphrasing, but how you only become a genius by learning to receive God's love or receiving from God. Something like that. And I just think that's so true. You know, like God does your work for you. So just continue to open to receiving that truth. in that energy.
Yeah, that resonates a lot, and that's what I've been working on as well, is that I had been putting a lot of pressure on myself. And actually, a few hours ago, actually, Fabian was working with me on this. And because I was putting so much pressure on myself, I was not being productive as I could have been. And yeah, so it just goes that everything just happens from a place of peace and partnering with God. Yeah.
Peace doesn't mean you sit around and meditate. Peace can be a rigorous hike or a climb in the mountains. Or peace can be drinking way too much cacao and having a really potent sales meeting. Peace can be, you know, listening to your favorite song. Peace can be a really complex and passionate and intimate and you know, intellectual prospecting.
Well, peace is both a passive and an active energy.
There it is.
Yeah. Same with meditation. Can be passive or active.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, good. Anything else you'd like to share at this time, Summer? Anything else in reflection of your week that's really valuable for the last 4 minutes here?
I think making the choice to work, because I've had a lot of resistance to even the word work, and clearing the separation between work and play, and seeing that when you do it with God, it's easy and you don't even notice that you're working. It just becomes a part of your lifestyle. And I think that was my biggest takeaway, that, you know, when you said, oh, it's 72 hours, a part of me was like, no way, I have never done that in my life. Really? But then a part of me was like, yeah, I was putting in these hours. It just didn't seem like working, because it was just like, I would do this anyway.
Right.
Yeah. I literally work in my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
All of my sleep last night was clearing blocks for this meeting, for my work.
Yeah, me too.
Literally, there's no point in my life when I'm not working. Because, like, for example, I'm playing a video game. But even that, for me, is I'm learning about video games so I can take this work into that realm. And I'm relaxing as I play a video game because my mind does need to shift gears. You can't just prospect for 72 hours straight. That's fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
That'll burn your mind out. That's burning the midnight oil. You could do that. Like, for example, in New York, I was just doing inner work with people from the time I woke up until the time I passed out. And that's kind of what it was. At some point, I was like, oh, I got to go lay down. I want to keep helping you guys, but I got to go lay down. And I could do that for a period of time. But I needed weeks to recover from that and return to my balance. And that was appropriate for that time, but that's not something that I need to do indefinitely. That was something that I need to put in for a very special period of time, and that's it. Or there can be times when, you know, I have a nice balance, but you need to respect your mind and how it works. And shifting gears within the context of your life purpose, it helps you to persist and proceed. Good. Anything else, Sam? Any other final insights before we close up the meeting?
I think that feels complete from my side now. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Our VP of Sales, Sam. Yeah. You're doing great. You really are coming into your own leadership position here. And we did talk in our TFAS class on Wednesday that really what our coaches need from you more than anything right now is leading by example. And you're doing a great job of that. So please follow in Sama's footsteps. And you'll notice she put in the time. And for her to put in those 72 hours, she just said it wasn't work. For her looking back, 72 hours, holy fuck. I'm the same kind of person. I'm like 15 hours of work in a week. That's fucking no way. That's too much. That's too much work. I don't do that. I don't work. I play, but I do it because there's nothing else I would be doing or could be doing. It's the very thing that it inspires my heart to reach greater heights. And I do it in my sleep, and I do it when I breathe, and I do it when I eat. I do it when I play, and I do it when I sit down to work. I'll do it no matter what. I'll do it in a jail cell. I'll do it at the bottom of the sea or at the top of a mountain. I'll do it starving. I'll do it sleeping on a park bench. I'll do it as a rich king in a palace. I'll do it when I have everything or nothing. It doesn't matter because I'm going to do it because that's what I'm compelled to do. That's why I hope you're here. And that's the very thing that's going to compel you to the greatest heights. Through the most, treacherous of challenges, the most, unruly of seas, through the greatest of deserts, the thickest of jungles, and through the most prosperous and highest echelons of power and wealth and fame and greatness. And any one of those places, you're always in integrity. You're always persisting. So get your sales, study and education on. Keep studying TFAS. Study LPC. This will help you as well. Study these. Study these coaching and sales meetings, and get out there and work and prospect, because that's the only thing that's going to help you move forward is putting in that work. That's the only reason we had this conversation today, is because at least some of us, maybe a lot more of us, put in a lot of work and started to understand that it's all in. That's how you do it.
And remember your power and position when you're in a consultation.
You have the gold.
You're the hot girl or the hot man.
You're the 10 out of 10 bar that everyone wants to talk to, that everyone wants to be around. That's what you've got. Even if they don't see it or acknowledge it or know it, you know it, and that's all that matters. So thank you all for another juicy sales and coaches meeting. We will see you all in the next one and along the way. Take care and get to work.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.